What is going on, everybody, and welcome to my John Wick franchise ranking. That is right, we are going to be ranking all 4 of the John Wick films. Now, before we start, let me just say that this is one of my all-time favorite film franchises. It is one of the best action franchises I have ever seen. I love Keanu Reeves. I love all of these movies, so even though one has to be at the bottom, all 4 of these are great. There is no bad film in this franchise. There's no good film in this franchise. All of them are great and above. So this ranking is literally going to be razor thin difference. But one has to take the bottom spot and one has to take the top spot. And let's get into this. Coming in at number 4, we have John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum. I think this is the most popular answer for least favorite of the franchise, or least best, I should say. But even saying that, you cannot take away anything from this movie. I think this is a fantastic action film. This is still like a 4 out of 5 for me, maybe even a little bit higher. But where the shortcomings are, there is not much story in this film, and what does happen does feel pretty insignificant when you do watch Chapter 4. You get the introduction of Halle Berry's character, who is awesome. I love her action sequence. I mean, you got the fucking dog choreography, which is amazing. Literally 10 out of 10 right there. You have some of the best action that this franchise has seen. I would personally say this film has the best action besides chapter 4, but even then, the story, like I said, holds it back a little bit for me. I find the main villain of this film to be just a little bit forgettable, and some stuff like John Wick walking in the desert to finally go to the Elder to lose his finger, I don't know, it kind of takes me out of the world that they have set up for the first 2 chapters a little bit, and just does not feel as realistic and grounded as the other 2. So while this film has great action, the story shortcomings hold it back just a little bit for me, but regardless, still a fantastic action film. Coming in at number 3, we have the original John Wick. Now, I don't know if this is a hot take or anything, but I absolutely love this film. This is an easy 4.5 out of 5 for me. Love this film. It is very self-contained and just a very classic revenge story with a really interesting world. It spends a lot of time building its world and building these characters. I mean, you have the introduction of the Continental, and you really get a feel for how the kind of crime underbelly of this world functions, and it's really, really cool. I mean, even though we have a couple different franchises where you have this kind of crime assassin underworld thing, none of them, in my opinion, are as unique as John Wick. I mean, you have the introduction of the character of John Wick and that classic story where he was married, he got out of this life, but his wife died, and then she leaves him the dog, the puppy, that unfortunately gets murdered by fucking annoying ass little bitch Theon Greyjoy. And yeah, it's just such a classic story. It's become such a big name in pop culture, and a lot of people quote this film, talk about the origin and the world building. As I said, phenomenal action in this first film as well. I love this film as a standalone action film, but there are, for me personally, a few better in the franchise. But like I said, still 4.5 out of 5. I absolutely love this one. The villain of this first one as well, I actually find very interesting. I might call a little bit bullshit that he can really stand his own against John Wick in the 3rd act, but I think he's a very interesting character. It's a great film all around. What else can I say? Coming in at number 2, we have John Wick Chapter 2. I've always preferred this sequel over the first one. I think it is one of the greatest action films to come out in the 2010s, or even of the 2000s as a whole. This is such a great action film. I love the main villain that we get in this, and I like how the whole film is quite literally just bigger and badder than the first one. While the first one was a very self-contained revenge story, this one has a bit bigger of a story and a much more vast world. I mean, you get Rome in here. I mean, you get the main villain, the character of Santino, that comes to John Wick's home and asks him to fulfill this marker, and you realize that that is how he originally got out of this life of crime. And, you know, he makes John Wick go kill his sister because he wants to ascend to the high table, which is really the first time we are introduced to the high table as a concept in this franchise. So you understand that there is a council of people ruling over this world of crime. So like I said, world building is a big thing for me personally, and John Wick Chapter 2 just expands it to such an awesome extent. I mean, you have so much iconic stuff in this movie. You finally get to see John Wick kill a couple dudes with a pencil, like they have said numerous times throughout these first two films, and the action itself is just ramped up and heightened, more bloody, more complex. Really enjoy it. I also love where this film leaves off, the ending of this film. I mean, you have John Wick who assassinates Santino on continental grounds, which gets him completely excommunicated from this order. And you have every single assassin in New York hunting John Wick down by the end of this film. I mean, that is just a completely batshit wild concept to leave this film off on, and I love it. I think everything about this movie is perfect. This is probably another 5 out of 5 for me. Yeah, John Wick Chapter 2, fucking incredible. But yeah, what can I say? John Wick Chapter 4 takes the top spot on this one, and this just feels like what this franchise was really building to. I mean, I really expected this to end off and leave as a trilogy, but I'm glad they made a fourth one. I feel like they did plan to make this a trilogy, but, you know, with the success of the first two films, and obviously the third one, they were gonna do a fourth, and I'm glad that they did. This movie is absolutely ridiculous. This is one of the greatest action films ever made. Every single action sequence is crafted so beautifully. The camera work, the cinematography, even sound design, stuff like that. The visuals in this film, absolutely ridiculous. The stunt work in this film, insanely awesome. Like, this is definitely something that you need to see for yourself to believe that it even exists. I mean, there is no amount of fancy words that I can use that will translate the experience you will get from watching this. Definitely recommend seeing this one theatrically, but overall, apart from the amazing and incredible action sequences, you just have, in my opinion, maybe the best story aside from the first one, but even that is in an argument with how good it is. I mean, you follow John Wick throughout this film, and he's kind of just paying for the consequences of his actions. You have a lot of character motivation in here, and you even understand kind of what the villain is doing. Bill Skarsgård as this French guy, who is awesome, by the way. You understand why he's doing what he's doing. Not saying you agree with it, but you understand it. Everything is presented so clearly. Everything has a purpose. Everything has a payoff. It is just an insanely awesome and greatly crafted film. Definitely my favorite of 2023 so far. You have the returning characters of Winston and Lance Reddick's character, who are great to see. You have Lawrence Fishburne in here, who I'm sorry, did not mention in my review, but Lawrence Fishburne is in here. I love his character every time he shows up. Awesome dude. Some really great lines and moments. You also have the introduction of the new character, the Mr. Nobody. He is a tracker, and I would love to see a spin-off with this guy. I mean, you also have Kane in here, who is just such a great dynamic to have with John Wick. I mean, he's hunting him down and, you know, wants to kill him, but you kind of get the sense that they are friends in a way. So it's just a very interesting and cool dynamic to see how that plays out. And I love that character. I mean, the blind man. I love this movie. There is so much awesome shit in this film. And as I said, it needs to be seen to be believed. So if you have not seen John Wick Chapter 4, get out, go see this film as soon as you can. Go to the theater, watch it theatrically. These are the types of films that really uphold and preserve the theatrical experience. And that's really important nowadays if you are somebody that likes going to theaters like I do. John Wick Chapter 4 is an easy 5 out of 5 and the best of this franchise for me. While I love all of these films, this one it delivered on everything I wanted it to. So if you are a John Wick fan, if you are an action fan, or just a movie fan in general, go check this out as soon as you can. It is definitely worth your time. Alright everybody, that is going to do it for the John Wick ranking. Let me know what your ranking is down below, and give me some reasons as to why you put the films in the order that you did. I mean, I've seen people put John Wick Chapter 2 at the bottom, which I can understand. Everybody's ranking is subjective. Everybody has different experiences with these films. This is just my list. Give me yours in the comments down below. Alright, make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for all the awesome content I have coming up soon. I'm working on a ton of stuff right now. I'm gonna have a vlog out with a very special friend and guest that I have not collabed with anybody on this channel, and that is gonna be the first collab that we do. So stay tuned for that coming out. I'm gonna try to get that out by Monday, and yeah, I have a lot of awesome stuff coming up. So like I said, like, subscribe, stay tuned for all of that. But for right now, I hope you guys enjoyed this ranking. I will see you very soon in the future. See ya.